What's up, game devs? Nospa here. My name is Vlad, and today I would like to share a package I've been working on recently. Before we see the package itself, I would like to discuss the problem with designing a database inside Unity editor. So let's imagine that I want to create some RPG, maybe RTS game, and I have a lot of different characters and a lot of different attributes. Naturally, you will come up with writing a script like this, where you would define several variables to store the data about a single character or unit, and then you will create several unit data where you will set up the health and the damage. But as the game scales up, it becomes harder and harder to edit and maintain a great amount of units, so that's not the best solution. A smart way of solving this problem would be to store all your unit data inside one collection and then accessing them by ID of some sort, and so you would be able to make several units inside one list. So we have like a skeleton, like a berserker, maybe a mage who has different abilities. But again, as the game scales up, there will be a lot of different collections for different datasets for different entities in your game, such as units, weapons, traits, items, I don't know, trees, destructibles, different parts of the armor, and that kind of stuff. So in the end, you will come up with the idea of a single scriptable object which contains all the collections with all the data about your different entities in your project, which would look like this, and this would allow you to create something like that, where you have different skills, like, I don't know, fireball, and maybe some good old polymorph. Yeah, I guess I spelled this one right. And then there's the same skeleton and the same berserker, and so on and so on. But still, the limitation of this approach is that it's not source control friendly, and it's hard to visualize this data. It's hard to access them from a remote device. And this is what today's video is all about. It's about designing a database in a way that it would be much more readable and easier to maintain. A more natural way of designing a database is using some sort of spreadsheets like Microsoft Excel, but this package specifically targets at Google Spreadsheets because they can be shared among several project members without any limitations. It's just free to use and easy to use, and basically game designers already using Google Spreadsheets. I'm sure about that. So if I would design the same database using Google Spreadsheets, that's what it would look like. There is the same tables of units and skills, and there is also a page called Best Practice. The reason I called it that way is because I bet you would try to put a list of unit skills inside a single cell, but you should not do that. That's a bad practice among any kind of databases. Doesn't matter if it's inside GameLogic or if it is like some remote database of users and their attributes. Instead, what you want to do is you want to split it and use an utility table where you can link a unit with a skill, and you can have multiple entries for units which have multiple skills. Now, how would I transfer this data to Unity editor? And that's where our package comes in handy. So first of all, we need to install the package. We will do it using Unity Package Manager. So I copy this link. We go to Unity Package Manager, add package, select the Git, and click add. It should download it and add to your project. Nice. Now back to the scripting. We are using this same workflow. We're still using scriptable objects, but now we inherit from data container base. And to inherit it, we need to use the Noscalib Google Sheets database namespace. The data classes haven't changed. There are still variables with different values that you want to keep about your entities. And the main part of this workflow is this attribute called page name. And you can see that these page names are the same as the page names inside our spreadsheet on the Google. Another important part is that your spreadsheet should be accessible by link. And finally, to access it, you would need to copy this part of the address. Copy it. We can close package manager now. We can go to data container that is created using this menu. You need to insert the document ID. Here you would see these toggles where you can select which of the pages you want to download and import, and you can see that there are these lists which can be populated of with just any kind of data. But once you click import, there will be this loading bar, and boom, yeah, we have it all. We have the same set of skills we've seen in the spreadsheet. We see the same set of units we see in the spreadsheets, and this utility table. Now, if, for example, a game designer or just another team member of yours has changed some data, for example, he balancing the Berserker health amount, let's give it 110. It says it's saving. Once it is saved to drive, we can select the Berserker, we can deselect the toggles we don't need and import the data again, and you see it changes almost instantly. But bear in mind that the whole process of accessing the data on the spreadsheet and then passing it inside these containers might take a while if you have like a really large database with a great amount of data, so it might take up to a few minutes in the real project. Now, what I want to do is to share some examples of how you can actually use this workflow in your game. So, for example, you have a simple setup for a character or a unit, in our case, which has a capsule collider, a rigid body, and a unit component with just health and damage. And if I press play, he just casually plays his animations in a loop. Our workflow implies that we need to initialize our unit using our database and this dataset in particular. So we would attach a script called unit initializer, and what this script does is it needs to somehow transfer our data from our data container to our unit using the ID that we would pass into. And we can make it like that. We can retrieve the data from our set of units data using a link framework like that. And what we need to do next is we need to initialize our unit with this data, but we also need our list of skills IDs, and we can easily retrieve this list again using data container and then our utility table where US unit ID equals to unit ID, then we select the skill ID and cast it to an array. Something like that. Now in the inspector we need to reference our units. We need to provide an ID and the reference to the data container itself. Now let's press play and see how it goes. We don't have any skills associated with this skeleton, but we do see that our health and damage got transferred from our table. If we change something here, like we would add some skills to our skeleton, then we go back to data container and import the data. You can see there they have added to our container. We'll launch it again, and here we go, we have our skills IDs. If you found this package useful and this video entertaining, please leave a like and a comment down below. I would love to hear your thoughts on this tool and how I can improve it, because I will develop it further as I use this tool myself. And yeah, see you in the next video.